Hey guys, welcome to my channel. The book that I'm sharing with you today is Her Quiet Revolution by Marianne Monson. As it says on the cover, it's a novel of Martha Hughes Cannon, frontier doctor and first female state senator. This was a really fun read. I am a huge fan of historical fiction. This is based on the life of a real person, which is pretty cool. Wife, mother, physician, senator, suffragist, and polygamist. And I am telling you, I never ever thought that I could understand someone's point of view for polygamy, but it was very interesting to see the scruples that she had and how it affected her life. I highly recommend this story. It was really neat. It was actually just barely published this year, 2020, and she put so much time into her research for this. For every chapter that she wrote in the actual story, she did a separate little section to tell you how she got some of the information she did or why she wrote that part of the story a certain way, which was really cool. So much research went into this story, which makes it even better. I mean, that's really my favorite way to learn history, is to make a good story out of different time periods, and she did a great job. I wasn't so sure at the very beginning of this book because it starts out with she is on the Pioneer Trail. They're heading to Utah with their family, and her dad is dying, and her little baby sister dies, and her mom has to bury the baby by herself because the dad's too ill. And that, I mean, it was really, really hard to read. I'm like, I don't know if I want to read this book, but it just got so much better as the story progressed. It was really cool. Her stepdad actually happens to be the person who was most encouraging for her to get an education, because back then, during the pioneer age, really, educating a woman was, I mean, thought to be unnecessary. Why do they need an education? Their job is in the kitchen. And her mom had very strong opinions on that and didn't like her getting educated. But she actually had a job. She got a job, I think they said typesetting is what it's called. And it paid for her to take college classes, which I thought was really cool. She had such an inquisitive mind for that kind of thing. She went to work and took that money and went to school so that she could learn. Biology was her favorite. That was her passion. And with her stepdad's influence, you know, he kind of tempered things between her and her mom, and the tension that arose from all that, because, I mean, other girls that age were getting married and having babies, and she was going to school, and it was just such a different choice for that time period. And so it's actually pretty cool. She ends up going to medical school out of state, and then she ends up going to another medical school. After she graduates the first one, she goes to another one to continue her education, and she graduated there also. And then eventually she made her way back to the frontier, where she helped run a hospital. You know, she had her own private practice and then helped run a hospital, and her whole life was just so fantastic, and she was such an amazing person. I can't even wrap my head around some of it. When she was, for instance, when she was asked to take on certain roles, she never felt like she was qualified. She always felt like, wait, what? Shouldn't you be asking someone else? Like, and then they would, you know, tell her the list of her accomplishments, and she's like, oh yeah, I did do those things. And so it's actually kind of funny. There's some funny parts in there where you're like, come on, come on, you know, Maddie, you know what you're doing. And it's fun to see her grow. And um, there's a part of the story where her um, choice of being a polygamist wife does make her a refugee. Basically, she has to run away and hide because of that choice. The federal government was very negative toward polygamy, and they wanted her to testify against a lot of the families where she had delivered babies to polygamist homes. And so not only was she a polygamist and they wanted her to testify against her husband, but then she also delivered babies for numberless families who were also in polygamy. And so they were hoping that, I mean, she was like a gold mine of information they were hoping for. And so they searched for her for a long time. She ended up going to England with her baby girl to escape that. And that was actually really cool. Really interesting story. I love seeing her point of view as a polygamist wife. She did not like it. As much as she chose to be in that, it was really difficult for her, and there was a lot of jealousy and self-worth struggles, which, holy cow, no joke. Like, I'm grateful to see that side of polygamy, that these women were normal and they did this because they felt like they needed to, or that's what was best for their family at the time, or whatever reason led them to that. I'm grateful to know that their emotions in that were completely normal and natural. So it was kind of cool to see her opinion. A lot of this information she got about that, the author, was from letters that they found between Maddie and her husband, which is really cool. The biggest problem with their research that they came across was that Maddie asked for all of her journals to be burned after she died. And so they lost a lot of information. But then there were so many different sources that Marianne Monson was able to come across to get the information she needed to write this story, and I'm grateful she did. This lady's fascinating. She does end up being the first female state senator, and she actually ran against her husband. He actually was another candidate. So that was a really interesting part of the story. They were rivals, so that was kind of cool. I highly recommend this story. It's a fascinating part of history. This woman is incredible, what she did for women. Suffragist. She pushed for so many things. She actually founded what became the Utah Department of Health eventually. So that's really neat too. She saw the need, and she, as part of her way of running for senator, she pushed healthcare for people, and fresh water and sewage. And she was so tired of going to these little towns that didn't have any of that. And these people would get so sick. And so that was one of her biggest pushes when she was running for senator, is that she would work to fix those problems. And I really think that's probably why the people voted for her, even though she was a woman. Like, in that day and age, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to vote for a woman, but what she had promised people, and she followed through on those promises. She really wanted to fix things, and she worked hard to do what she felt like she needed to. So I highly recommend this book. It was fantastic. I love all the notes in the end to tell you how the story was written, where information came from. I wish we had a little more information on the end of Maddie's life. It does say that she did end up moving to California with her children. So I wish we had a little more information on that. That's about it. So maybe we'll get a second book out of the rest of her life, because she was such a fascinating person. I don't know, but I can always hope, right? I hope you guys enjoy this story as much as I did. I didn't know that I would like it as much as I did, but I have so much respect for Marianne Monson for writing such an amazing story, and for bringing Maddie, Martha Hughes Cannon, to bringing her story to light, because she actually played a huge role in Utah history, and I'd never even heard of her. So it's actually really cool that that this story was written, and that we have so much information from her life and all of her accomplishments. Feel free to post any questions you have, or if you have recommendations for books that I can read and review, that'd be great. I will put the link of where you can purchase this below if it's something you're interested in doing. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I do, because I did love this story. It was really cool historical fiction. So loved it. And then like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great day.